The experience of divine wisdom is your sacred right. Divine wisdom is what guides you along a spiritual path. It is this inner knowing that helps you to witness yourself as infinitely more abundant, loving, incredible. It is your inner wisdom that guides you to live your highest potential and to experience all that you are, even as you continue to expand and seek more. In each episode of the Wisdom Podcast, you will hear what insights, offerings, and truth have helped others conquer their fears, be resilient, live empowered and happy. You may hear your own story in some of the stories of my clients as they have healed themselves, become in control of their life, and as they have reclaimed their authentic power. Seeking a deeper understanding and meaning of life awakens us to discover our purpose and to witness the infinite beauty and joy that is so abundant. All of us are on a sacred path. When we awaken to this, we easily access the guidance of our inner wisdom, and we see the beauty of life unfolding in perfect ways to help us manifest all of what we want. I hope that each episode of this podcast can offer something relevant and timely for you, and that the sacred path that you are on is one that you choose deliberately, based on the inspired wisdom of your inner truth, as you live a beautiful and love-filled life. Forgiveness is possible as you love yourself and others unconditionally. When you choose to forgive another or yourself, it is because you wish to let go of suffering. You free yourself to live in the present and to dream of the future because you have completed the work of forgiving, for releasing your attachment to the past. The past was never in your control. If you are forgiving another, it is so that you can have a relationship with them in the present, if you so choose. In this episode, we discuss what it means to forgive, how you know that you have forgiven completely, and how you can do this so that you are no longer carrying the weight of the past with you. What do you need to forgive? What actions, words, or thoughts? Who do you need to forgive, including yourself? If you want to forgive, it's likely because you want to free yourself from a situation in which you are harboring feelings of hurt, anger, or another form of suffering. Forgiveness, and think of it as two words here, forgiving. Forgiveness is forgiving yourself the freedom to let go of the past and whatever has happened, including what you or others have done that is not a true portrayal of who you or they are. Forgiveness is forgiving acceptance to what has already happened and what you have no power to change. You only have the power to live from the present moment. So here are a couple questions for you to contemplate. Are you ready to experience the release of your hurt and suffering? Have you been telling yourself that you have forgiven another or yourself because you very much want to? But in thinking about past situations, do you still feel all of the same hurts, sadness, or anger? Do you know that you can forgive completely? So let's begin with a new way of thinking about forgiveness that transcends all world religions and is the most direct path to inner peace. Forgiveness comes from love. Love for another or yourself needs to come first in place of what hurt, anger, blame, and suffering you have been holding on to. When you choose to forgive, it requires your willingness to make peace with what has happened. If you hold on to hurts and situations in which you have been wronged, it will seem impossible to forgive a person or their actions, or both. To forgive, first decide to accept, to make peace with whatever has happened by acknowledging that the past is unchangeable. Then you can begin to hold compassion and love towards the person and yourself in the present. Your love directed towards another or unto yourself is the most powerful tool for forgiveness. When you can hold acceptance of what has happened in the past, you make peace with this reality. Once this happens, your focus can be on healing. In accepting what can never be changed, you are free to take conscious steps now to release sadness, remorse, guilt, anger, and any other feelings by first acknowledging their presence. In this approach, you do not need someone to apologize for their inappropriate or wrongful actions. This is most helpful when someone is unwilling to acknowledge their wrongdoing. When you can say to yourself, "This happened, but I no longer want to feel angry, sad, betrayed, hurt, or any other painful emotion," then you have made the choice to forgive. To come to peace with what has already happened. You, through the art of allowing it to be, of accepting its history rather than attempting to willfully change whatever has already happened or wish that it had not happened, is how you absolve any feelings and thoughts about what is past. Forgiveness is giving up the suffering that exists when you hold onto past situations and experiences and whatever is not in the present moment. Choose forgiveness above everything else. Let your desire for feeling peace and for accepting what already is be what gives you objective and the ability to be here and now. Your life is no longer lived in the re-experiencing of past hurts and wounds. Forgiveness allows for the release of what causes you to suffer. This includes any of the self-inflicted hurt that you have been carrying because of your decision, whether consciously or unconsciously, to continue reliving the unpleasant thoughts and feelings of that situation. As you maintain blame directed towards another or yourself. It is unlikely that the other person is even aware of the extent of damage or hurt that they have caused. It is not up to another person to make you feel better. Even with a heartfelt apology, you can still harbor negativity and hurt feelings. So it becomes a decision, your decision, to release the past through acceptance and the willingness to live life in the present and to do what is going to be most helpful for you to feel happiness and whole. Consider if you have been unable to forgive what has happened, such as a car accident or an injury or illness, and you continue to point blame or find fault for the situation. This will inhibit your ability to physically emotionally and mentally heal, to recover fully, and to feel at peace. Remember that your power lies in your ability to live of the present moment, to act and react based on your present moment experiences, including what you will remind yourself of that is not within your control, nor ability to change. Forgiveness may take months or even years to complete based on the depth of your hurt and how long you have carried this suffering, giving it your unwanted attention and energy. Think of it as similar to layers that you shed. Each layer is what you had constructed to armor you, to protect you from feeling hurt or anger, even though these layers have not been needed. Instead, you have simply needed to refrain from holding onto and reliving what is past. You will know when forgiveness has been completed because you will be able to think about the other person, yourself, or the situation, and no longer feel the hurt, anger, or self-loathing that was once present. You will instead feel an ease and lightness in your heart center, and you will be able to identify the feeling of unconditional love and acceptance that comes about from making peace with what is. In your willingness to forgive, you experience a relief in the painful feelings as you do the important work of releasing, shedding these hurts, and in examining what hopeful or unrealistic expectations you may have held towards another or yourself that has caused you to remain in the place of victim. A victim consciousness is your need to be justified in your suffering. A victim mentality only keeps you focused on what real and perceived harm has been done to you. You can't move beyond this until you are willing to make peace with what is unchangeable. This is acceptance, pure and simple. You do not have to like or be happy about what has happened, but you do need to find a space in which you can accept the past as what has already occurred and focus your energy on what will bring you relief and a feeling of empowerment that comes with the absence of suffering. When you choose forgiveness, you choose to let go of the need to make someone or an event or situation responsible for how you feel. Until you feel forgiveness completely, please continue to find more of what you need to let go and to shed. And here's an important hint for this. You can release whatever still remains with intentional choice. It is a choice to free yourself of whatever suffering you have been experiencing. Use a mantra to remind yourself of your decision to be free from a past situation and the thoughts and feelings you hold of it. Think, I have forgiven this past situation or person, and I am free of the past, and I am at peace. Complete forgiveness is the release of your suffering and blame in place of holding peace, and for giving thanks for your ability to do so. Here's why you need to forgive. When you feel consumed by hurt, sadness, anger, or any other difficult emotion, whenever you think about a situation, an exchange of words, the absence or presence of an action, or any other condition that did not meet your expectations, you suffer. Each time you think about the situation or the other person, you relive the same feelings, usually as intense as they were originally. Your belief that you have been wronged and that you are justified for feeling the way you do is what keeps you in a cycle of suffering. You choose forgiveness because you no longer wish to relive the past. You recognize that it is far better for you to feel at peace with a situation, yourself, or another, rather than continue to harbor damaging and unresolved feelings, because these feelings, left unhealed, continue to cause discomfort. The 7 pillars of forgiveness describe the steps that lead you from what you feel now into peace, acceptance, and a new reality of truth that is comforting. Each pillar is also a best practice that makes it easier for you to walk through life without forming hurts and for holding grudges. We begin with the first pillar of forgiveness. Let go of your expectations of what others should be. With expectations, whether unspoken or shared, you are holding others to act and think in ways that you approve of. When others are not able to do this, it leads to disappointment, frustration, annoyance, and disharmony in your relationships. If you can meet others where they are, to accept them as they are without needing them to change or adapt to what you want of them, then you are free to have a relationship with someone because of who they are. This means that you can accept others even as they are different from you, and to not require of them to be how they should be based on your expectations, aside from the fundamental ways in which others will be respectful, kind, and of honor. Practice accepting others as they are and allow them to be who they are. In so doing, you can appreciate others because of who you are in this moment. This may be one of the most challenging aspects for us to consider about how we are with others, that we must allow them to be as they are. From here, we can choose to be in a relationship with another based on who they are or not. While you cannot control how others treat you, you can and must use your voice to convey healthy boundaries and your needs of the relationship. Hold to this pillar as you honor yourself, even if it means moving away from others with space, time, or physical distance, if they are not able or willing to respect and uphold what you need in order to have a healthy relationship. This practice reminds you that if someone is not behaving, nor choosing to behave in a way that is kind and loving, you have the free will choice to absolve the relationship, to step away for a time or permanently, not because you necessarily want to, but because the other person is not able to be fundamentally respectful, kind, and appropriate with you. The second pillar of forgiveness, practice compassion. You can forgive when you hold compassion for another. It will be difficult to feel compassion if you are still seething with anger or resentment for whatever has happened. Compassion is sympathy and concern for the suffering or misfortune of others. This is a word for a very positive emotion that has to do with being thoughtful and considerate. When you hold compassion, seeing the other person as they are, with their own set of vulnerabilities, limitations, and likely suffering in some capacity themselves, you begin to hold them in a different light. Your perspective softens, and you are able to understand and to learn of their particular situation or circumstance. Compassion and understanding are not meant to justify or condone someone's behavior, but rather it gives you insight into the situation and the plight of others who may not have the resources and capabilities that you have. In the same way that you can acknowledge your own wrongdoing and feel self-compassion and remorse, you can acknowledge that another person is likely not intentionally seeking to be hurtful. In some cases where there is actual proof that an action of intentional harm was being directed at you, you can still choose forgiveness. Forgiveness of the situation, forgiveness for what was done, and forgiveness through acceptance that what has happened is also of the past, and that you can thrive in the present moment, no longer perpetuating your suffering by continuing to relive the past. Compassion is for acknowledging that others are not always able to be at their best. We must remember that at times we are mired in our humanness. The third pillar of forgiveness: uphold loving kindness. Loving kindness comes from a Buddhist tradition and is all about cultivating love. You can still be kind and respectful as you voice your opinion, your needs, and what healthy boundaries you have in place. Kindness does not mean that you agree with another. What it shows is that you can honor another living being, even when you do not approve of their actions and words. You may uphold loving kindness most easily as you look for and find the good in another. Each one of us has good. We all have the ability to be of our goodness. It is a choice. Choose to focus on the good of others so that you can more easily be kind and respectful at all times. Kindness is how you show love to all living beings. The fourth pillar of forgiveness: be responsible for your happiness. Remind yourself of what you need to do to feel better, to be at peace, to feel happy, calm, soothed, or any other feeling that you wish to feel. Only you can be responsible for how you feel, which is important because it also means that you can choose happiness in all moments. Taking control of how you feel is liberating. Practice this in moments when you might be inclined to blame others or situations as the cause of your suffering. Be sure to give yourself what you identify that you need in order to feel better, and to release and let go of what has been causing your suffering. For example, you can remind yourself, yes, she or he did or said that, but I no longer want to feel sad, angry, hurt, or any other difficult emotion because of it. This is what I need to do to feel happiness. Rely on your inner wisdom in these moments for guidance, and then honor through action what you need to do to feel happiness in place of suffering. I'm going to also include here in the episode notes and the transcript a link to a video on how to curate your innate happiness. Happiness of the present moment does not change what has already happened, but it is a powerful reminder that you do not have to live in the past when happiness is possible in the present moment. The fifth pillar of forgiveness: practice holding gratitude for what you have learned from this situation, for how this situation or circumstance will empower you in future, and for what life lessons you are being shown and taught through the practice of forgiveness. A big step towards your ability to forgive is to say thank you, inwardly or aloud, as a reminder to yourself of how this experience is causing your expansion, your growth, and what you have learned. This will also help you to release hurt and suffering. Gratitude acknowledges your ability to rise up, to heal yourself, to choose how you will empower yourself regardless of what has happened. Be patient of yourself with this as a process. You may forgive someone for a past wrongdoing, only to discover more hurt and angry feelings that has now surfaced for you because of other actions that you have now remembered, or of which they may continue in. Hold gratitude for choosing to let go of the past, of accepting the past as unchangeable, and of learning and trusting in what you know to be true. Acceptance of the past frees you to live awakened to your life in the present moment. To hold gratitude means that you have allowed your perspective of something to change. This is how you become enlightened. You form a different attitude and a higher perspective of what is important. Gratitude for something good that comes out of a situation, to recognize and appreciate your emotional strength, your resolve to heal yourself, or to forgive because of what cannot be changed, are all reminders of your capacity for transformation and of rebirthing yourself as far more powerful than you have ever been, here and now. And we're now at the sixth pillar of forgiveness. It is this: remind yourself of what is true. Rather than continue to dwell on what has happened or your feelings and thoughts about this, challenge yourself to re-examine the situation from the perspective of your highest self. See if you can bring greater accuracy and clarity to what has happened, rather than hold blame unto another or remain a victim. Hold compassion for yourself. What was done to you and what experiences were painful do not deter you from your highest potential for good and for living as the very best version of yourself. Forgiving what happened to you is often the first step to healing and a return to wholeness. If another person was involved, and if you received deliberate harm, you can practice acceptance of this past situation as something that occurred, but you do not need to continue to relive it. Remember that forgiveness is acceptance of what has already happened, and not agreement nor approval. So in this pillar, the objective is to write a list of factual truths based on your current life situation. Forgiveness is remembering the truth in the present moment rather than dwelling on the unjust that is forever in the past. Your ability to be of the present moment is what allows you to hold forgiveness for any past situation. As you deepen your resolve towards complete forgiveness, you may want to forgive the other person first, if you cannot yet forgive their actions. You can also use the other pillars to help you deepen your expression and desire for complete forgiveness, and to remember that the behavior of another in a situation could never have occurred if they were living of their highest self in those moments.